In this lab, we're going to explore what is called truncating tables. Now, truncating is synonymously mixed with deleting and unpopulating in conversations, although it has its own characteristics. So, because it's so destructive, we don't want to mess with any of our JProCo tables. We're going to create a brand new table called Contractor that we're free to play around with the data. This table is going to have 5 fields. The first field will be an identity field. The other 4 fields will be fields that we're going to insert and update and delete as we choose. Let's go ahead and select this code and create the table. Now let's look at our contractor table. Right now, we should see a table that is unpopulated or has no records. All right, if I were to tell you to delete or truncate this table so it has no records, it wouldn't seem that magical because it has no records right now. So, let's go ahead and put some information in there. Let's insert contractor number 1, which appears to be Major Desiree, and he's in the Seattle area. And then, there's me. We'll insert me in the Seattle area. Joe the plumber, he's over on the East Coast. And then Jean Kim, who also works in Seattle. Now notice I've inserted 4 fields, but this table has 5 fields. We only need to be concerned with these because the first field will auto-populate. Well, let's insert these 4 records. And then, let's look at the table itself. And run it. All right, there we go. There are 4 records. Now, Major Desiree was the first one, so he got identity 1. And then Jean Kim was the last one we inserted, or the 4th one. And so that got number 4. Now what happens when we delete this data? Pretty simple. All the data goes away. So let's say delete from contractor and run it. And 4 rows are affected, and in fact they're deleted. No more records exist in the table. Pretty straightforward. Now what happens if you reinsert these 4 records? Will Major Desiree still get contractor number 1? Well, let's find out. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Looks like the identity field did not start over. Well, let's use a different means of getting rid of all of your records. Type Truncate Table, and let's specify contractor. Highlight this and run it. It doesn't say 4 rows are affected. It just squashed all the data in the table regardless of how many there was. Notice there's nothing in there. Now, let's rerun these insert statements. 4 rows are affected. Let's look at our records. The identity fields, they started over. There are 2 more significant differences between delete and truncate. One of those differences you can see, and one of those differences you can't see because it's going on behind the scenes. Let's talk about the one that you can't see. Plain and simple, truncate runs a lot faster than delete. A lot of people will ask why, and that goes into the more advanced programming or administration book, and it's because it doesn't log what's known as transactions. It just squashes the table as though you just dropped and recreated it, while still preserving the permissions. Well, what's the difference that you can see? Let's start off by creating this table from scratch, inserting 4 rows of data, and then just ensuring that the data is there. And let's give ourselves some room. Now, what if we wanted to delete everybody who was in location 1? In other words, I have 4 records, and these 3 records from location 1 should be deleted, leaving 1 record remaining. Well, you can delete from the table name, and then say where location ID equals 1. We have 4 records. How many will be affected? 3. We've affected 3 of our 4 records. Now, when you select from this table, you see you have 1 record left. Okay, great. What would happen with a truncate? Let's go ahead and put our records back. Let's pretend this table was never created. Drop, table, contractor. Table's gone. Now, we're free to recreate the table and put data in the table. And check to see that all of our data is there. Yep, just like it was before. But we're not going to delete this time. Let's comment this delete statement out. Let's try the truncate equivalent. Type truncate, table, contractor, and say where location ID equals 1. And let's try to run this. Incorrect syntax near the keyword where. The reality is, you cannot use criteria with truncate. Truncate destroys all of the data in the table, not part of it. It just squashes the table back to its original creation state. Now that works, but we've gotten rid of all of our records. Delete can work with criteria, truncate cannot. Lab 1.1, Skill Check 1. Write a SQL statement to remove records from the contractor table where the location ID is not 1. When you're done, your results should resemble the figure you see here, and all records remaining should have a location ID of 1. Skill Check 2. Remove all records from the contractor table in the fastest possible manner so that all identity fields will be reset back to the C value of 1. Then, insert a new contractor named Bill Barker in location 1 with today's date. Bill should receive the contractor ID of 1 after the insert. When you're done, your screen should resemble the figure you see here.